Hi everybody, I'm Hayden Crawford from the Dreamtime Academy and welcome to today's live Starseed Origins workshop. Now this is a free workshop which is going to explore in great depth 8 of the different star constellations and the starseedy origins of, the types of beings that exist there and how that then relates into your life experience if your soul has originated from there. So we're going to be looking at sort of what's been happening over the last couple of years with regards to the Starseed awakening, because, believe me, it's been huge. The whole planet has been affected by this in some way, shape or form. And then we're going to sort of break it down into different categories, so really looking at the Lyrans, the Pleiadians, the Andromedans, those people that come from Antares, so we'll go through 8 of the main star systems so that you can kind of start identifying and really trusting what comes up for you, because obviously we're all ancient immortal beings of light and we're living a temporary human experience. So when a lot of people come to me, they say, oh, well, I identify with more than just one starseed race. And is that possible? Well, absolutely it is. But it's kind of like this analogy. Like, I was born in England and I spent the first 36 years of my life living in the UK. And then at 36, I moved over to Australia. So, for the last 12 years or whatever, I've been in Australia. So my soul kind of now resonates more with Australia. And I don't really have that many memories or very fond memories of being in the UK. So it's the same as, your soul was well traveled. So it might have been that, you've been through the Arcturian gateway, you might have been through Orion, Sirius, but then your last major incarnation or series of incarnations could have been within the Pleiades. So that's why you'll resonate with one more than the other. And it doesn't mean to say you've not traveled through those star systems. And in actual fact, your soul exists simultaneously across those different star systems. Okay, so we have to look at all of this. Now I'm also going to be bringing in the starlights as well. Now these are the beautiful starlight essences and they're all different colors, and I work with these with the color mirrors system because these will help you to attach and connect to your home star system and actually give you very detailed and clear and concise information through from there as well. So that's why I work with the starlight essences quite a lot. There's a range of about 15 of them and they're incredible. So I'm going to be showing you certain colors and you're going to be intuitively sort of selecting which of those remedies and colors is most in alignment with you, because that could give you some of the clues as to what your purpose and mission is for 2021. Because obviously, we've all woken up now. Hello to you, April Bender, and Rachel Rodriguez. Hi, how are you going? And it's nice to see you here as well. 11 Kabaja and Lorena as well. Brilliant. You're very welcome. Well, today, it's really an exploration and an investigation into the many different starseed flavors. And we're going to be drawing upon lots of wisdom from lots of different sources. I'm going to be taking you through a beautiful guided meditation as well, so that you can feel like you can connect to your home planetary system. And we first of all, we really just need to recap, I think, on what a starseed actually is, because for many people this might be quite new, and starseeds are human by birth, okay, and by DNA, but actually their soul originates from anywhere within the universe, so it could, and actually outside of this universe as well. So we are human, but the soul has a different place of origin. So and that can be various different places. So we want to look at, first of all, what a starseed actually is and the traits of a starseed. Now I'm a beta generation indigo. So what that means is I was one of the first waves of volunteers that came to the planet to be able to help with the ascension process and help the Earth shift from third dimension to fifth dimension. So I came in 1972. I was born on October the 16th, 1972. And And actually, I was a very sensitive child, so I always felt like I didn't fit in. I was always the one that would be picked last in the football teams and stuff like that. And it wasn't even because I wasn't very good at it. It's just people didn't they couldn't understand who I was. So you might feel like that as well. So there's a definitely a feeling of displacement that comes up with the starseeds, I think. And so I wasn't the first wave of indigos. The alpha generation indigos who actually came in between 1958 and 1968, and they had the hardest time. And a lot of them commit suicide because they just couldn't cope with the density of the earth plane, and all the war and the trouble and the strife, and just it was just too much for them, so they nicked off. I came in as the second wave, so between 68 and 78 the beta generation indigos came in, and I actually was pretty well prepared because I'm from Andromeda, so my soul originates from 22 million light years away from this plane of existence. And Andromeda, the main purpose that they've got is to help people to remember self-love and self-power, so really self-confidence, self-love, and also freedom. But they only can get that sense of freedom by rediscovering their inner wisdom. So then they can go on to feel free, because it's very essential for the Andromedans to feel free. So that I was told that in the middle of the night a few years ago. I was living in the southwest, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was really hot and sweaty. And I'd had a series of really bad nights, and I was feeling quite desperate. And I asked, where am I from? And I was told Andromeda, and had no idea what it really meant. And then I started learning and researching about first of all, the Andromedans, and then the different star systems and the traits, the personality traits of those people as well. And everything just started falling into place. And at the same time, of course, I was working with the color mirrors, and they started introducing new wisdom, high magic, and awareness into my practice. So it was almost like a big download of information that came through for me. But it's helped me to fully understand and integrate, and hopefully you guys would feel the same way. If you're here today, chances are you have identified that you're a starseed already, and you probably have some idea as to where you're from, but you might not be sure. And I'm hopefully going to bring you some clarity over that. So it's nice to see you, Source Healing. Nice to see you, Heather Jean. Yeah, and you were in 1965, were you? Yeah, okay. You had the hardest time, and of course there were waves after that as well. Remember the alpha generation, the beta generation. There was a delta generation, a gamma generation, and then it started moving more into the second major wave, which was the crystal children, and then the rainbows, which have only really just started coming in. And the kind of difference between your indigos, your crystals, and your rainbows, and the reason why they're called that is because of the auric field. So when it's photographed through Kirlian photography, which is a proper system of photographing the auric system, it's been scientifically proved. The indigos had an auric system that was anywhere between sort of indigo and blue and violet, that type of color, those in that spectrum. And then the crystals, their auric field was very different. So it's actually quite noticeable. And then the rainbows, of course, they kind of come in completely intact. And a lot of them come directly through from source consciousness, or directly through from they're directly through from their star system, and they haven't been caught up in the birth death cycle of reincarnation on the planet. So that they come in with a lot of a higher vibration, and they are the movers and shakers, really. But we're all capable of becoming rainbows, all of us. So even if you were born as as an indigo, and you came in in that first wave, and you really had a shit time, it doesn't mean to say that you can't evolve into being a rainbow. The rainbows come in with no karma. The crystals have karma. So the rainbows tend to come in and into functional families so that they can do their work. Whereas the crystals, they would more likely incarnate, into dysfunctional families, because they've still got lessons that they need to play out, and karma that they need to rebalance. And of course, the indigos have got a lot of that going on. So, it can be quite quite full on. So Rachel says, my youngest is most definitely a rainbow. Fantastic. Yeah. A lot of them are, and you can tell usually by their date of birth, the numerology in their date of birth, that there's lots of twos in their date of birth and lots of sixes. Then that's a real good sign, that they've got very high sensitivity, and especially if they come in, with like a ruling number 11 or a 9. They're very high vibration, quite evolved beings of light. So yeah, so what we can see then is the traits really of the starseeds is that you'll suffer from a sensation of homesickness. Now, in a lot of cases, this is because the star system that you came from, and especially if you're Lyran, a lot of the planets within Lyra actually, were taken out, so they imploded or exploded, and it was, so there's no way that there is that sort of opportunity to go back there, So a lot of the Lyrans can feel very displaced, and it can lead to depression. But it's the same for all starseeds, really. This is a common trait, really. This sense, this deep inner knowing that the earth isn't your true home. The second one is, as a child, you somehow felt different. Like as I just said about me, it was like I just didn't fit in. I was kind of like the odd one out in a lot of ways. And it was there's some form of uniqueness about you, but other people just don't understand you. So it doesn't matter how hard you try, they just won't get it because they don't come from the same density. And so you likely felt that you were separate from the world and that you didn't fit in. Another one is that you had empathy for others, okay, and that could be quite overwhelming at times as well. So you had a special ability to uplift other people. So, like now I harness those powers of being able to uplift. But at the time, it was like, why have I got this? And, this can be, through energy medicine. So a lot of starseeds do go into vibrational remedies or healing or counseling. And sometimes, complete strangers will open up with their problems to you without even, realizing that they're doing that. So, you kind of attract people that, sort of feel comfortable in your presence and that they feel like they want to open up. Has anyone had that experience before? Although you felt different from them, you did have this natural ability, to be able to relate to their struggles. So it makes you a really good counselor and healer. There you go. So all the time, Rachel says, Source says, yeah. Okay, and Lorena, you reckon you're Syrian and Pleiadian as well, yeah? Awesome. Okay, we'll go through this in a lot more detail as we go through today's workshop, and you might be surprised at what shifts for you as well, or what develops within you. Now, another trait that comes in is that you resonate with metaphysics. So you prefer to steer away from organized religion. So like for me, for example, I didn't like going to church. I wasn't Catholic, and I went to a Christian school, but I did believe in the energy of Jesus Christ, but I never really believed the stories surrounding it all in the Bible. So you actually do prefer to follow your own beliefs about spirituality. So that's another key sign. You also felt like you feel like you've got a purpose and a mission to fulfill on this planet as well. So you feel like you come in and it's like there's a bigger picture behind your incarnation. But you sometimes struggle to find out what it is that you really came here to do. So it can be a process of awakening that you have to go through. So you might go through the first 20 or 30, even longer years of your life completely, sort of blindfolded, not really, and just doing things to please your parents or to please other people, and following in the patterns of your mum and your dad, for example. So, that's a big one really for a lot of people. It took me up until I was 30, I think I was early 40s before I started understanding that I'm actually here to come in as a spiritual teacher and color therapist and numerologist. So, it sometimes can take quite a long time. The other thing that comes in as well is that you have a history of paranormal or psychic experiences as well. So like for me, I've had numerous different encounters with beings of light, extraterrestrials, whatever we want to call them, and sighting things in the sky. So I've seen saucer-shaped objects. My grandfather was actually a member of BUFORA, which was the British UFO Association, Investigation Association, or something like that. And he was a key member of that back in his day. And he used to tell me stories when I was a kid. He used to say that he'd seen cigar-shaped objects and saucer-shaped objects in the sky. And I was always fascinated by this. And I was like, oh, wow, it'd be amazing to see it. And then I started seeing things, I'd see entities looking over me when I woke up in the middle of the night. So I'd had a couple of experiences like that. So you would be the same, you would have premonitions or felt presences or received telepathic communications or even seen, mysterious entities hovering above you. So, that can come in. Yeah. So, good to see you, Jesse. Nice to see you. And LT Puck says, I freaked out completely when my dad said we were going to church, and I freaked out when they wanted to give me pocket money. I love it. There you go. And Source says, yes, purpose, just figuring it out now. It is, it's a challenging one. That's why, Dreamtime Academy helps you find purpose on your journey, because it was such a major struggle for me. I woke up in the middle of the night. It wasn't in the middle of the night. When I was kind of like going through the depths of the frustration of working in the corporate world, because I used to work in IT recruitment for many years, and I was just really getting angry. I started feeling really angry because I was like, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. And I knew it, but I didn't know how to get out of it. So I started like asking, sort of just asking, going within and asking for guidance. And I was told that I've got to work with color. And so I didn't really know what that meant, but at the time, so we ended up selling the house, moved down south, and I became a painter, but nobody ended up buying the paintings that I was creating. So eventually I found the color mirrors, which is this amazing, high wisdom and high magic system behind me, which helps people to release, those old patterns, emotional patterns, beliefs, and behaviors. And it's vibrational remedies. So it was very, very significant, for me, that awakening process. And I had to really go into faith that I was being guided in the right direction. Of course, then the Dreamtime Academy was born, and all the courses were then developed, level 1 and level 2 numerology and color therapy, and the color mirrors practitioner course, and the journeys as well for women to go through different stages of release, remembering and reconnecting as well through the energy centers and the chakra system. So, it was kind of like faith, always going into faith that I was being guided by the Elohim, which are the highest and brightest angels and guides, and also my star family from Andromeda as well. So, it is, it's a gradual process for a lot of us. Yeah. An IT agent, your nemesis as an IT contractor in the UK. Wow. There you go. That's absolutely right. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. So 11 Kabaji says, used to have weird experiences as a child, heard music on Queen Mary lots and deja vu, but it suddenly stopped, even my dreams. And you feel lost without it. Oh, well, you see, you can make like set an intention to reactivate those. And sometimes you just need some help with vibrational remedies. And I'll be introducing some of those to you today, so you can see what might be the best for you. Because sometimes it's just we've closed down through fear, or we have just closed down because we were told that what we were feeling and seeing was, wasn't real. So other signs that you're a starseed as well is your dreams are very vivid, like phantasmagorical movies. So, like my dreams every night, like last night I was in this fun fair, and it was like, had all these colonial buildings, and I was exploring all these rooms and corridors, and, it was incredible. Every night it's like my imagination wouldn't be able to dream up such incredible scenarios. So, that you're traveling, you are going into different dimensional realms of existence to learn and to help and to heal. So, and they can seem otherworldly, as though your imagination, has created like an alternative paradigm. So that's a huge one for a lot of starseeds. The other one is other people instinctually know that you're different from them, and they can feel uncomfortable in your presence. So, you might not make friends very easily, and you might not want to either, but this may make you feel isolated, even within your own family. So your own family might not even get you. It's like my dad, for example. I mean, he's a great guy and all the rest of it, but he doesn't understand like what I do. And I didn't even, when he came over to Australia from England the last time, it was a year ago, not once did he kind of ask me about, the coloured bottles that were in my space. And he was, and then eventually when I got round to sort of telling him about it, he said, "Oh, so you're some sort of quack then, are you?" And it was like, what? So, they just don't get it. So there's no point in even trying to, sort of tell them about any of this sort of stuff. So it's quite amusing, really, when you think about it. So, yeah, so, you might not have many friends, but those you do understand you completely. So normally the people that you consider your friends are ones that are also starseeds usually, or, they just get it because there's a soul connection going on. And, you might also have an aversion to war, violence, or cruelty of any sort. And you might not feel comfortable in large crowds as well. So you might, you might be subjected to sort of volatile situations. Okay. So you just don't want to be around people because it can get out of control. It's like, I remember I went to, a festival in Brighton when I was at university with my friend Lindsay, and there was a big crowd of people as we were trying to get out. And of course, the more and more people that all tried to get out through the same kind of tight exit and it started getting, and I started getting squashed. And then all of a sudden people started panicking and somebody screamed, "Don't panic," like that. And I just thought, oh my God, this is the end. I'm going to get crushed or trampled on and stuff. So I kind of avoid those types of environments, and you're probably the same. It's like it can bring up kind of fear and stuff within you, and also the energy as well of other people can sometimes affect you as well. Also, you're naturally drawn to animals, and you understand them, and they actually trust you. And this is the case as well with babies and small children. So you often find, like for me, I'll go out to the supermarket and babies will always look at me and they'll always stare at me, and I always like smile back at them and stuff, and they get mesmerized by me. And everywhere I go, like babies, they see something they like, and they just connect with it. So these are just some of the traits. Which ones do you identify with? Leave a few comments and let me know what you thought. Remember to like this video as well and share it with people that you feel would benefit from it today as well. People that may be just going through their awakening process. Just click like and then share it with your friends and family, because there might be people that want to come in and experience the rest of today's workshop. Okay. Yeah, and kids love you. Yeah, that's it, Jesse. Kids just seem to have a natural, sort of propensity. And your dreams are so surreal as well, are they, Rachel? Yeah, that's really cool. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you some colors, okay? And I want you to intuitively pick out the one that you feel most connects with your star system, okay? Where you're from. Okay, so this is the first one. All right, so can you see that? This is the first one. So this is a beautiful pale pink. Okay, beautiful pale pink. And I'll tell you all about what that means. And then you can put when you've seen them all, you can put your answer in the comments section for me. So this is the second one. Okay, this is a beautiful pale apple green. The third one here is a beautiful kind of like a zesty lemon lime, pale kind of like citrusy lemon lime color. The next one, which is a very, this is a very pale, and so lovely sparkles running through it as well. It's a very pale gold. Then we've got this one. Okay, so this one is lilac. Okay, this is a beautiful lilac essence. Okay. Oh, wow. Source Healing speaks to children telepathically. That's awesome. And then this is the next one. All right. So this is pale turquoise with some silvery sparkles. Then we've also got this one here, which is almost like a cobalt blue. Cobalt blue. All right. Do you connect with that one? Then we've got this one here, which is yellow with golden sparkles running through it. Okay. So this one is the next one. And then finally, we've got this one, okay, which is like a pale coral with beautiful sparkles as well. All right. So these are the sum of the starlight essences, not all of them, but these are the ones which relate to the different star systems that we're going to be speaking about today. And from that, you'll be able to understand what your purpose really is to do during this year. Okay. So Jessie says number 2. Okay. So the beautiful apple green one. Pale gold, says Rachel. Ray says pale gold. Apple green, says Jessie. The yellow gold, says Lorena. Come on, put this in the comment section and let me know. Make sure you like this video as well. If you're enjoying today's masterclass, make sure you like the video. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to my channel and click the bell for future notifications. So Source says, I love them all. Brilliant. All right. And cobalt or turquoise or lilac. Okay. See if you can narrow it down to just one of them. See if you can narrow it down. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah. So this is a really great way to be able to connect up. Okay. So make sure that everybody that's watching, just put your color choices down. Okay. Number 1, which is the pale pink one. Brilliant. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reveal to you what this means and tell you more about that star system and what it is that you're here to do. All right, so just going into trust as well here. Okay, so this is the first one. So this is called Starlight Love. Starlight Love. Okay, Starlight Love. And Starlight Love connects you to Orion. Okay, so it's Orion. So this one reactivates love, all right, in every strand of your DNA. So the Orion energy, helps you to sort of remember that love is the common link between everything within the universe. And obviously, what I can do is, like, if anybody has resonated with the Starlight Love, remember that vibrational remedies, they transcend time, space, reality. So I've just sprayed you with some of this beautiful Starlight Love essence. And I want you to just close your eyes and to breathe it in. Just breathe in that beautiful essence of love. And what that'll do is it will kind of reactivate that love through every single strand of your DNA. And it will open your heart just really beautifully and gently and softly. Okay. All right. So if you've chosen the green bottle, this pale apple green, it's called Starlight Freedom. And this one actually connects you up to the Hyades, and in particular Aldebaran, which is the eye of the bull in there. Okay, so in the Hyades, and the Hyades appears to follow the Pleiades across the night sky. So it's in the constellation of Taurus. Now, this remedy helps you to reconnect to your limitless freedom. Okay, so it's really about it's actually available to you when you transcend and you let go of old limiting beliefs. Okay, so freedom is there as again, it's our truth. It's what we came here to experience. And green, and color therapy is all about space. So this is a beautiful connection to the Hyades. All right. Hi, Alexandria. Nice to see you. Nice that you've joined us today. All right. So freedom is very, very important. I think we were speaking about that during your session the other day, Jessie, weren't we? How freedom is very important. Now, if you chose this bottle here, the pale citrusy sort of lime green one, this is called Starlight Connection. And also that if you chose the pale gold one with the sparkles as well, that one's called Starlight Rapture. Okay, so you've got Starlight Connection and Starlight Rapture, which both connect up to Lyra. Now, Lyra are those cat-like beings. You know, a lot of them have got feline features, and the Lyra constellation is fairly small, and it's surrounded by Hercules, Cygnus, and Draco. And the brightest star within Lyra is Vega. So starlight rapture connects you up to Vega, the star constellation Vega. And the star constellation of Vega it's a place where love and bliss collide together. So it's a beautiful, you know, environment. So it's uplifting to higher dimensions of reality. So, you know, if you chose that pale gold energy, it's, you know, it means that you come in to be able to uplift people to higher dimensions and remember that sense of bliss and love combining together. All right. And then if you chose the starlight connection, this one here, that also reconnects you to Lyra as well. So there's a Lyran influence there. All right. So what I'll do is I'll just spray a little bit, first of all, of the Starlight Freedom, which is for all of you Hydeans. All right. So just connect up to your beautiful energy of the Hydes and Aldebaran. Okay. Now, a lot of the Hydean starseeds will see the numbers 333 appearing because they, again, the Hydeans connect to high wisdom, and they bring in the upper heart chambers and the crown chakra as well. That's okay. You can always watch back at the stuff that you've missed, Alexandria. Okay, and then anyone who chose this beautiful pale lime green one. Okay, that's your starlight connection. Okay, so you can breathe that energy in. Just really take a nice deep breath and breathe in that beautiful energy. And then the starlight rapture as well. All right, so this is Lyra. Now, talking about Lyra. Now, I've got a video coming out very soon, and it's the Starseed Oracle forecast for April. Now, obviously, as we move into April, the numerology of the month changes. So what's actually happening is we're going into a universal month cycle 9. So in the color mirror system, it brings in this red energy, all right, which is Mars. It's fire. Now we're also in Aries, and Aries is a fire sign, and its color is red. So Mars and Aries connect up, and that's why I'm wearing red today, because the Lyrans are also connected, all right, to red, all right, because they kind of govern base chakra issues, because the Lyrans really are here to, you know, enjoy the physical aspects of life, the material and the practical. They're born leaders. They often seek out adventure and thrill seeking, and they love, you know, indulging in food and, you know, good wine and sex. And, you know, they're kind of like, they're very passionate people. So it's a lot of red energy that we've got that we can work with. It's going to help us to take physical and inspired action on our goals and dreams in life. So April, you know, from the 1st of April all the way through to the end, the Lyrans are helping us to take inspired action and to not just sit back and wait for stuff to happen, but actually be, you know, sort of listen to the intuitive insights and then do it. All right. So red is all about activity, energy, mobility. It relates to the physical plane, the earth plane. And actually, coincidentally, you know, talking about red energy, in April, we've got the next edition of the United Colors of Design coming out, and it's the red edition. There you go. So everything's kind of syncing up here. Now, this is the copper edition, and it's such a beautiful magazine that you could subscribe to. It's free. And in there, you've got so many people, columnists, that are writing different things, you know, about the colors of shadows and the colors of business law and employment law. And then you've got astrology, and you've also got numerology. So there's me. All right. So every month I look at a different celebrity, whether that's a sports personality or, you know, like in Copper, it was all about David Attenborough because, you know, he did all those series on the Blue Earth and all the rest of it. So, and I break down their date of birth and put the color mirrors influences alongside of it. So you can start understanding your purpose through the lens of color and numbers. So the next one that's coming out is red. So I've actually written this next article on a very, very famous sports personality. So you'll have to get into it. It's really, really good. Yeah, no, absolutely. You can indeed. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll put a link in. So how you can actually, I've put one in the community section on my page on YouTube, so you can find the link in there, and then you can subscribe to get your magazine. But red energy is all around us, so we've got to really be harnessing that because of the Lyra and stuff that's going on right now. And we'll talk more about Lyra and the others in just a while. Now, if you connected up to Starlight Magic, which is this beautiful kind of pale lilac with silver sparkles running through it, this is Sirius energy. Are you serious? I'm serious. It's Sirius. And this is the pure power of joy and joy of high magic. All right. So Starlight Magic gives you that sort of sense of, really reconnecting with your own high wisdom and magic, and then being able to share that. So Sirius is a divine feminine planet, and the Syrians are very creative. They have a beautiful creative aspect to their personalities as well. And Sirius, one of the largest stars that we can see in the sky is Sirius A. It's huge. So you can always see it if you go out and look up into the stars. If you chose Starlight, this pale turquoise one, it's Starlight Peace, and this one connects you up to the Pleiades. And the Pleiades are the seven sisters, those beautiful seven sisters that just look so peaceful in the sky. And actually, this is peace beyond knowledge. So it's the wisdom of Elohim that comes through with this remedy, okay? And it helps you to listen within. So go into the peace within and just listen to the truths that come up for you there, all right? So I want you to breathe in that. If you chose the pale turquoise one, take a nice few deep breaths in and feel that energy coming through of the Pleiades. There you go. So Alexandra says, yay, I'm Lyran. Excellent. Fantastic. And Jessie says, I think I figured out the geometry that was shown to me in my dreams. It very much aligns to the flower of life. Yeah, absolutely. And that's interesting, because the flower of life will appear like that in dreams, especially when you've got a connection to the Hyades, all right, or Aldebaran. So the next remedy that comes up is the Starlight Perception Cobalt Blue remedy, and this one is Antares. So apparently Antares has gone supernova, so it's actually, you can't go back to it anymore. And a lot of the Antarians that come in are, sort of, they kind of go between their spaceship and their human body. So a lot of their spacecrafts are actually, sort of observing what's going on the planet. So, this is an acknowledgement of the light of perfection in everything. So if you are Antarian by soul origin, you need to be able to kind of look at the perfection, that everything is perfect, the light of perfection in everything that's around you and within your life. So Starlight Perception is a beautiful one because it's quite an intuitive remedy as well. It helps you to see very clearly. All right. So just breathing in that beautiful energy there. So if you've just joined and you're watching today, we're just going through the colors and the connections to the various different star systems and how you can use these remedies to be able to align to receive information through from your star families. If you've just joined as well and you haven't liked the video, please like the video and share it with your friends and family and people that you think would benefit from this amazing free workshop today that's going to enable you to not only remember where your soul originated from after it left source consciousness, but also to give you some clues on what you're actually supposed to be doing with that wisdom during 2021. So make sure you like the video. There you go. So BLK Queen says, my favorite color is gold. I'm I've acquired a lot of things that are red. Team Lyra, brilliant. They are. So each of the remedies has its own unique keynote and frequency and fragrance. So each one has a very, very subtle and beautiful vibrational frequency that will help your soul to reconnect to your star family. Okay, so Jesse says, do I know what type of race that would use a diamond shaped, like a double pyramid ship? I saw this when I was about 10 or 11. You're talking about the Merkaba star, actually. Yeah, so that's beautiful because it is like sacred geometry and it can shape shift. And actually that connects quite beautifully with the Pleiadian light ships. Yeah, so the Pleiades. It's Metatron's cube. That's correct, Alexandria. Now, if you chose the yellow bottle, this one's called Starlight Joy, and this is Arcturus. So if you liked this one or you connected to this is Joy Beyond Limits, and it actually helps you to align with the great central sun as well, the great central sun. So it brings joy, you know, the highest and brightest elements of joy back into your life. And, you know, if you came from Arcturus, you know, joy was your natural state. So you were able to feel the joy all the time. You didn't slip in and out of being happy one minute and then miserable the next. It was a constant state of joy. And then finally, if you chose this beautiful pale coral one, it's called Starlight Innocence. And this is Andromeda. Okay, so this was the very first starlight that I bought and started working with it. And after I, you know, discovered that I was from Andromeda. And this is the innocence of the divine child. So it takes away that whole notion that guilt can ever exist. And it goes back into the innocence of you as a baby, you know, so that you can go back into that knowingness that actually you are innocent. You know, you've never done anything wrong. There's no such thing as guilt. Absolutely. Yeah. So Jesse says, I'd like to do a regressive hypnotic session. If you're interested in doing regressions, then I actually offer regression sessions to help you to reconnect with your star family and to receive that information. So I take you into a deep brainwave state. So it's actually known as a somnambulistic brainwave state, and take you through many layers and lifetimes so that you can go back to where you originated from. So it's a fascinating thing to do. And it needs to be carefully facilitated as well, because, you know, you really do need to trust the person that takes you through those layers. There you go. So Suzanne says, Hayden, another that I follow will be doing a live healing session through his YouTube channel on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Fantastic. That's great. It's actually something that because I only work with very few people now in sort of live Zoom sessions, because I'm constantly creating content and courses and doing workshops and retreats now. So I've limited the amount of people that I now work with on a weekly basis to around about 5. So I don't advertise that, because obviously I would get bombarded by people wanting me to take them through these regression sessions. So yeah, it's on request, put it that way. Yeah. Good night from Mexico. Good night from Mexico. All right. So what we're going to look at now is I want to go through each of the different the Starseed flavors and help you to sort of understand what it is that you're here to do. All right. So let's have a look, and we can start with the Lyrans. Okay. So the Lyran connects to the red base chakra. Lyra, as I mentioned before, is a very small constellation, and it's surrounded by Hercules, Cygnus, and Draco, and the largest star there within there is actually Vega. Now, Lyran's incarnated into the Pleiades and Sirius and Arcturus as well. So they're a highly developed race that span many different galaxies. So they are the oldest souls in our galaxy, and actually they played a unique role in creating humanity. They offered the element of fire and also seeded the first souls into Atlantis. And their teachings promoted a strong work ethic and use of physical energy to the Atlantean and Lemurian races as well. All right. So as I mentioned before, it's this very sort of strong work ethic, this red energy that comes through. So it's saying, take action, do, don't sit back and wait for things to happen. It's time to step up. So they're diverse in appearance, and they have very different behavioral traits as well. So, the feline features are prominent within Lyrans, but they can also be bird-like, and they're highly spontaneous and persistent, and have extremely high energy. And because of this vitality, they want to be involved in many different activities as well. So, they can feel depleted if they use up their reserves. And so they often look for change in their life. So they might actually go through many different jobs and stuff like that. Okay. So who relates to being a Lyran? Who feels that their soul connects to Lyra? Just leave a little comment for me. Beautiful. That's lovely, Suzanne. How gorgeous. There you go. So Rachel Rodriguez says, my husband's laughing because you're describing me. So Source Healing says Andromeda. And there you go. So it's great that you guys are aware already. And if you're not, remember that you can always order a Starseed numerology report. So these are a 15-page handcrafted report that I prepare. And they are incredible because they work off your date of birth. So it looks at your numerology, your living name, and your astrology influences, and also judge based around where your where your sun is at the time that you're born, will enable your soul to be able to come through different portals. So actually, it's a very accurate way of precisely getting your origin, your soul origin after it left source consciousness. And they are incredible, but they do take me around about 5 to 7 business days to create because they are handcrafted. They're not computer generated. So if you'd like one of those, then just message me afterwards and we can organize that. They are they're on special actually. They're 59 Australian dollars until the end of March. So you've still got a few days to be able to get one if you haven't already got one of those. There you go. So Rachel says, I'm fitting in nicely with the Lyran description, and I already have a calming sense when you describe it all. Fantastic. Okay, so that's a nice knowingness, because remember, your heart understands the truth. Your heart feels the truth. So when you hear something and it resonates, you've got to trust that. You've got to go into trust. Okay. So we'll move into to the next one. Okay. So next we're looking at Syrians. Now, Syrians work with the sacral chakra. Okay, the sacral chakra, which is the one that kind of just sits above the root, and it's orange in color. And actually, Sirius is the blue planet, and it's the most vibrant star in our heavens, and it's actually been blessed with multiple suns, and it's 20 times brighter than our sun. So you can imagine how vast it is, and it's commonly described as the most important star when it comes to the future of humanity, as we're all evolving towards a Syrian culture ourselves on this planet. And Syrians are simple in the way that they approach life, and usually deeply spiritual and intelligent as well. And they're the diamonds of our planet. They achieve their goals easily, and they're open-minded and straightforward. And Syrians are very calm and resourceful, and it's difficult to provoke anger in them. They're stable and secure, even when the world seems to be crashing down around them. And they're focused on the job at hand and are the quiet achievers as well. So they take work extremely seriously and are good at seeing a job through to finality. Okay, so they often find it difficult trusting other people, though. So that's a normal thing for many starseeds, and they often just have that very small group of friends as well.
Okay, so then we can also look at your the ones. I think I froze there with a very strange look on my face, didn't I? Then we can see the Syrian starseeds enjoy losing themselves in fantasy worlds through games, books, and movies, as it helps them to remember being on their own home star system. So their imaginations are vivid and creative, and connecting with the mystical arts and wizards and shamans, and they align with the throat and the sacral chakra energies of creative expression. So many of the Syrians have, tattoos on their bodies. We can also see that the Syrians are often found working in the arts, music, or writing, but they also like mystical healing, witchcraft, or energy work. Okay, thank you very much for that lovely donation of 1111 source healing. That's very sweet of you. Yeah, no, you can have a connection to multiple different star systems. Remember what I said at the beginning is that we are ancient immortal beings of light. So we exist simultaneously across many different ones, but we'll have normally a connection to one more than the others. But remember, we can tap into the wisdom of all of them if we set an intention to. So that's why, during my Starseed Oracle forecasts, I set an intention to connect up with the energy that's around us. And like, for example, in April, it's Lyra, but in March, it was the Hyades, and in February, it was Arcturus, so we can really start harnessing our multi-dimensional aspects by opening ourselves up to our true limitless potential. All right, you missed the beginning of the story. There you go. So Jesse thinks his was a water world. Quite possibly. Sirius B is a water-based planet. So that's where a lot of the whales and dolphins came in from. So the Orions are the yellow solar plexus. All right. So even though the Orion energy is starlight love in the color mirrors, it actually connects up to this yellow solar plexus energy. And, it's one of the most noticeable star systems on our planet, in our heavens rather, because you've got Orion's belt, and that relates to the pyramids, the pyramids of Giza. They're in the same location. It's located in the constellation of Gemini, and it's home to many different types of beings. Orion is a place where the masculine and feminine consciousness integrate together. So they tend to create from a place of duality. So it's quite a difficult system to be in, and a lot of people wanted to escape the Orion matrix because it was a difficult place to exist, and only a few could get through. They could find portals to be able to get to the Earth, to get out of there. The Orion starseeds have a significant role to play on the Earth. They have a powerful way of inspiring people and the world and aligning with the universe. So both positive and negative races originating in Orion currently live on Earth. But most starseeds, including Pleiadians and Andromedans, have some lifetimes in the Orion constellation as well. Okay. A lot of the Orions are connected to ancient Egypt as well, but they are logical thinking. So they excel at logical thinking, and they understand the mind better than most. They perceive the world via the mind more than the emotions, and need to see evidence of something before believing it. So they can be very overly analytical. So they need to kind of get out of their own minds, and that's why they need to reconnect, to their pink heart energy, because otherwise it's too overwhelming. The left brain will kind of get in our way. So, souls from Orion have many fixed beliefs and frequently try to get others to conform to their way of thinking. They don't understand why people's minds work differently. So they're very opinionated and critical. So watch out for those Orions. Does anyone else identify with the Orions? And thank you so much for the 12, Jesse. That's very sweet of you. I really appreciate it. It's very, very sweet. So Silver Star Priestess says, okay, I was wondering because I was born in March, but I'm an Aries in Western astrology. Interesting. There you go. So Alexandra says, I think that's another reason I came in from there. I think that's because all the trauma from there is like here. It is, yeah, it's quite a similar vibration. I mean, we live in duality on the earth plane as well. So Orion and, and here, we live in a very dark corner of the universe, and we came in to bring light, onto the earth. So, yeah. There you go. So this answers a lot, been researching a lot, and it's just a lot. Yeah, no, it's so true. There you go. So Jesse says, you're seeing 1212. That means your guardian angels have blessed you. That's so true. 1212. Now, the interesting thing is as well, like if you're seeing the Lyran energy is coming in April, and so you might see 444 a lot, because remember, red energy is on the physical plane, and so is the number 4. So watch out, because it's going to shift, because this month it's been 333. A lot of people have been seeing the symbols either 33 or 333 everywhere, and that connects up to the Aldebaran in the Hyades, and it's actually the degree that it sits within the sky. The Aldebaran is relates to 33, which is all about high wisdom and mastering love as well. But now we're moving into more the sort of building blocks energy of practical doing. So you might start seeing 44 or 444 all the time. I keep freezing in very strange looks on my face, don't I? Okay, so we'll move on to the Pleiadians. Now, the Pleiadians is connected to the heart chakra, and the Pleiadian civilization evolved millions of years ago, and their DNA has been used to breed many humans. They offered a genetic blueprint to the first humans and developed life on Atlantis and Lemuria, as well as the whales and dolphins. So that's those, those beautiful Merkaba star spacecrafts that you can see, those diamonds. So they're actually from a cluster of stars located near the constellation Taurus, and millions of Pleiadian souls have inhabited the Earth since the time of Lemuria, and their purpose is to advise us about source consciousness and how to ascend with ease and grace. So Pleiadian starseeds embody heart chakra energy and are helping humanity with unconditional love and unity. So that's their kind of big mission. All right, love and unity. And they have a deep connection with sex and sensuality. And this is a physical manifestation of love, and it can be used as a very powerful tool in energy healing. My sister is a Pleiadian, and she's always been very connected to sort of that deep expression of sexual energy. And it's often they might incarnate, they might want to be transgender, or they might want to be like gay or lesbian. For example, the Pleiadians, they do that, but they have an external desire for peace and happiness for all humanity. Their energy is calm, kind, and uplifting, and they're actually a real joy to be around. They can be quite funny. So they're quite happy-go-lucky, free-spiritedness, and they love anything mystical, and they are lovers of nature and nurture. Okay, but they do defy those traditional gender roles. So does anyone relate to being a Pleiadian? The lavender one is Sirius. Okay, and this is Starlight Magic. Starlight Magic. There you go. I just keep catching myself with a frozen look on my face. It's funny. That's okay. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Andromedans. Now, I mentioned this before. Now, the Andromedans are higher heart and crown, and this is my soul family. Andromeda is 22 million light years away from the planet. Okay, and they assist humanity through the ascension process into the golden age. Now, anyone with an Andromedan planetary origin, as I mentioned before, seeks freedom, and they lust after this feeling of freedom. And they they sometimes feel trapped in their circumstances. But the only way that they can find that freedom is by rediscovering inner wisdom. And then they're actually here to be able to help people with self-confidence and self-love. Okay, so the Arcturians is the throat chakra. It relates to the throat. And Arcturus is a star located in the Boots constellation. And it's an archaic star system. So the Arcturians are considered to be ancient. And they're great communicators, and they're here to teach and love nothing more than sharing their wisdom. So a lot of the Arcturians do keynote speaking. You know, they want to share their wisdom via, you know, sort of YouTube or Facebook. But beings from Arcturus are pioneers of a new future on Earth, with a particular emphasis on technology and community living. And that's, you know, it's focused on balance and sustainability. They have an ability to communicate telepathically, and they can transmit information in colors, geometric patterns, and even sounds. So starseeds may see colorful geometric patterns when they close their eyes. So I don't know if you've ever noticed this before. Like if you do, when you close your eyes, if you see all those patterns, sacred geometric patterns, a lot of the time, that's a real sign that that your soul has traveled through Arcturus. But they resonate with frequencies of the throat chakra, so they are attracted to communication, advanced technology, and broadcasting information as well. And they use their knowledge of sacred geometry, mathematics, and ley